do what I do, because I don't give a fuck. One or two people side with it, and them the one or two people that's rolling with me. I'm not looking at the majority. I told y'all from day one, the majority's not gonna side with you. I'm only gonna get subscribers here and there, and that's cool. I'd rather have 50 killers than 1,000 soldiers. Yeah. So they always gonna be mad. Welcome. Welcome.
That's just how it is. You have to check this out. Because we're warning guys about the bad woman, which now has pretty much leveraged most of the world. So the type of woman that is good is pretty much slim. We're not teaching hate. We're teaching.
What's up, class? What's up? Got a great one for you guys today. Question was asked: is Candace Owens an ally for men? 2 men, 4 men, by men? And that's an easy one, guys. But rather than me get up here and tell you, I'll have her tell you guys. So today, we got an interview with Candace Owens. We're going to be talking about everything, guys. Y'all know how we do over here. You know what I mean? Let's get it. All right, Candace. We got you in the house. You with the Goodbreads. You here at the school of the Goodbread Show. How does it feel, Candace?
Candace.
Not much. I reached out to you this time.
Yes.
Yeah, I did. And for the same reason, everyone was like, I didn't know Candace was like that. I've never seen her like that. And I'm thinking it's because you always see me on the defense.
Yes,
like they never get to see me just actually having a conversation because every time I have a conversation, someone's trying to kill me.
Exactly.
You know? That's a fact, though, Candace. You're the most polarizing female in U.S. history. No lie, no cap. You know what I mean? And I agree. The people are addicted to the entertainment. They don't want to hear your truth. And then you're a woman. You know what I mean? Because your truth remind them of the poor decisions that they didn't make, that they was too scared to make. They remind them of that, man. And they just rather remain stupid. Don't you think? They just rather remain dumb all the time. They just dumb. And that's it.
Yeah, and that is the profit model. Clicks, anger. So it sucks, but it is nice to just be able to relax and just have a conversation.
Yes.
Right. So you have a book out. You know what I mean? You have a book. You've been doing it big. Like, how is that going for you? Like the book and all of that thing.
So it's split between electronic copies and hard copies. I mean, the audiobook and hard copies. So I think right now in just the hard copies alone, we're past 400.
Candace.
And it's still selling, thousands and thousands of copies every week. So it's been a huge success.
Yeah.
Hard work pays off.
Yes.
That's the lesson in all of it. Hard work pays off.
And
that's dope, Candace. So I congratulate you. I want to give you your roses for the book. You know what I mean? Don't confuse them though, because hard work does pay off, but it comes with some preparation, planning, action. As it's a mixture of things. You know what I mean? But recently, we got to talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Recently, you had a child, right? You're a mom now. You know what I mean? You're a mama Candace.
But yeah, I had a baby, a 10-week-old now, 10 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, so very recently. And it's just life-changing.
Really?
So when you say life-changing, elaborate. Like, did it make you a softie? Did it make you tougher? Like, what you mean? You know what I mean? Elaborate.
What's funny is that I had a lot of conservative women that I'm friends with in the political sphere, and they said, when you become a mom, it'll really soften you. It actually is the opposite for me. And I know everyone was hoping, yes. It's the opposite, though, because suddenly you realize that you're not just debating ideas, right? You're debating what's going to be the determination for your child's future, right? So before, if I'm debating stuff and I'm saying the trans agenda is harmful, which I believe, it's just me saying I think it's harmful and here's why. But now that I have a child and you're realizing they're implementing these policies and they're serious, right? California just proposed a ban on boys and girls signs. Like when you go into the store, they no longer want to see boys and girls, right? So now we're talking about the future for my children. And so it feels more severe to me, and it's hardened me in the sense that like I want to fight even harder, even though it seems crazy because people are like, you already seem like you're fighting, but
And that's a fact, though. I always said that, Candace. Like, I say that too. People like, why do you have everything? Why do you still open your mouth? Why do you still tell the truth? It's like, it ain't about me sometimes. Sometimes you can't be selfish. You got to do stuff for other people and not look for you to benefit. You know what I mean? For you to benefit from everything. But Candace, you also got a show out. And a comedy show, Candace? Comedy? Like, really? You
So there was two things. One thing is that I always really loved late night TV because I have a big sense of humor, which doesn't really get to come across often because the media hardens me. And I just felt like late night television isn't funny anymore. It's gotten so hyper political and angry and really at the expense of conservatives. Like every joke is made at the expense of a Trump supporter, conservative. Conservatives suck. Okay, we get it. You guys are amazing. Saturday Night Live is not even funny anymore. And late night humor used to be great. Like back when Jay Leno, I couldn't tell you what his politics were because he made fun of both sides.
That's real.
And that's what real humor is supposed to do, right? So real humor, the best kind of humor is when you walk into a room and they make fun of every group of person and you walk out and you're like, man, we all kind of suck a little, you know?
They making us soft now, though. They don't want that to happen now.
Kind of brings you all together in a way that you realize that none of you guys are perfect, and that's kind of the beauty of humor. So the first thing was just the hostility of late night TV, where they just seem like they're trying to score political points, but then also realizing that we have half the country that doesn't see their ideas being represented in the mainstream. Like conservatives are just boxed out, you know, everything, but whether we're talking about late night TV, the Grammys, the Emmys, everything is all about virtue signaling for the left and saying, we're the best, and all of you guys suck. And in my opinion, we're the majority. I think a lot of people in this country are becoming increasingly more conservative because the left has become more radical. So I don't even think that I have a disagreement anymore with Democrats, right? Like I think that the majority of Democrats now can say, okay, that's too much. That's a little too far left for me. I don't think the average Democrat in this country wants children to be told to pick their gender, right? So we're seeing sort of just this radicalization. And so I wanted to just create a show that first and foremost showed the different sides of me, but also represented a voice for those people that just feel like you're the forgotten person in America and you're not allowed to have an opinion because we're just making it seem like you guys don't exist.
Now, that's crazy, Candace, that you mentioned that, because comedy still, though, I'm still stuck on the comedy part. You know, that's risky, Candace. They canceling comedians. They canceling comedy. Like you that's the quickest way for you to get your words misconstrued, don't you think? Like,
yeah, you know, that's definitely already been an issue. I always say there's Josh in legal. It seems like a random person that doesn't exist, but Josh in legal, I know I write the show entirely. So he'll say, oh, you can't really say that because they might take it seriously. Like we were playing a game called Supreme Court Justice Marry Kill, which is obviously a ripoff of the game FML. And they were like, oh, you can't say kill, like, because people will think that you're actually trying to kill the person. I'm like, what? It's a game. It's just supposed to be fun. So I think we're kind of still finding our rhythm with that, but it's obvious that we're kidding. Like, we don't actually want these people to be the Supreme Court justice or married to or killed. And you have to hope that people will be more genuine than that. But at the end of the day, I'm a fighter anyway. So people try to pretend that a joke was serious. I'm just going to fight back and be like, you're an idiot.
That's a fact. You know, they got the bullying rule, you know what I mean? And some people jokes are more morbid. You know what I mean? I'm an Aquarius, so I got them dark jokes. You know what I mean? Now I'm red pill. So, you know what I mean? We know, I know the damage that our sisters like Cardi, Megan, and you know, a host of others, Nicki, you know what I mean? You can even throw Beyonce in there with some of the brainwashed and how they brainwashed our sisters, guys. I mean, you know what I mean, Candace, they brainwashed a generation of women. You know what I mean? I know that you had beef with Cardi B. Can you elaborate on that? Can you clear that up? Set the record straight? Because I know part of the reason why a lot of people, and we're going to get into this, a lot of people like to attack you, Candace, and they like to mention who you fucking. When you just worried about keeping guys D-wet. And the guys, they worrying about who you fucking. But I know a lot of that narrative was created from that beef between you and Cardi B. So, you know, you at the school of common sense. We got to touch on it. We got to talk about it.
Okay, so let's actually kind of reset the narrative here, because first and foremost, people made it seem like I woke up one day and was like, let's just attack Cardi B.
Okay.
Here is what the left does, and Ben Shapiro spells this out really well, right?
Okay.
It's really gaslighting, right?
Okay.
They do something that is so absurd and so extreme that any rational human being is going to comment on it, right? So it's not like Cardi B just walking down the street trying to buy a Starbucks, and here comes Candace Owens commenting, how could Cardi B buy a coffee, right? You get on stage at the Grammys. Traditionally, the Grammys is a friendly family type program that we can all sit around and watch. You know, maybe a couple of things are a little like, ooh, that might have been a little inappropriate, but you don't watch the Grammys and see two women half naked grinding their vaginas on each other. That's not what you see for the Grammys, right? She does this because she wants to get clicks, because she wants people to comment. This is what people do. It's like, we can also similarly down the line talk about Lil Nas X, right? You're not grinding on Satan half naked because you don't want people to comment. They do these things for attention. And then when you give them attention, they go, oh, how dare you even look at what is wrong with you? You're obsessed with me. It's like, no, you did this because you want people to comment. Now, when I made the comment, it was on Tucker Carlson's show on Fox News. I don't pick the topics on Fox News. It's not my show. So I do religiously every Monday. I go on Tucker Carlson, right? They send me the topics a few hours before the show, and I give my opinion. So just like everybody else in the world was commenting on this absurd performance that she wanted everybody to comment on, I gave my opinion on it, which is that it was degenerate. For whatever reason, in the midst of everybody else commenting, she focused on me and this.
Because you're a woman, Candace. You are a woman.
1 minute, segment on Fox News, and it upset her. So there's something about me, particularly, that gets under Cardi B's skin. So she then was tweeting about it for 12 hours before I responded and was like, all right, yes, I said that. And then we went at it. So it's not really about Cardi B. And I think that there's a lot of things to appreciate about Cardi B. And I've talked about them in the past, and she doesn't hear that stuff. But right now, she's the person that's doing the most because she wants the clicks. She's the person that they're naming as Woman of the Year. So I offer commentary on someone of her nature being deemed Woman of the Year. And, she happened to be the person that decided to, at the Grammys, put on a degenerate performance. So she got everyone's attention, including my own.
And that's crazy. And you're right, though. You're right. Everybody's going to mention it. Everybody's going to touch on it. Look at the Will and Jada smack. They still talking about that to this day. You know what I mean? Everybody's going to mention it when you put yourself out there. You know what I mean?
Somebody who wanted an opinion. So like case in point, I know how to get, right now, if I wanted every single person to watch this podcast, if I jumped on the stage, got half naked and started humping your mic, you think that it would drum up some conversation?
Probably would.
Just a little bit of conversation. And then imagine if everybody who starts talking about it, then I go, oh, what's wrong with those people? Why can't I just express myself as a Black woman who wants to hump a mic? I mean, that's what Cardi B does, right? Like, and so it's not fair to then say, Candace, why are you commenting on this? Why don't you ask her why why can't she just perform like a normal human being? Perform your song. I disagree with the song entirely. The song is so inappropriate. She can't even perform the song in its true lyrics. She has to change the lyrics to perform her own song. But of course, I'm going to offer commentary on that when that commentary is asked of me. I did not attack her randomly on a Twitter thing. It was asked of me on a Tucker Carlson show.
You're right. But let's go back, son. You're right. And Miss Kansas, if you jump on this table, this live stream going in. And that's just a whole fact, Miss Candace. You jump on this table.
Because it's completely unrelated. Nobody asked for the government to come sanction Cardi B. Nobody asked for the government to get involved in asking her not to throw her WAP all over a stage. We asked her as an individual to make a better decision, right? We asked the people that are running the Grammys to say, you know what, this is actually not appropriate for children. This is not appropriate content. I don't have an issue with the fact that there are, pornographic actresses who literally have sex for a living on screen, right? If that's what you want to do with your life, that's totally fine. But I know that you have to go to a website specifically for that. And it's not going to be on ABC during the Grammys, right? There's a time and a place for everything, and that was neither the time or the place. And what I was commenting on, again, not asking for the government to get involved, was just that it's the irony of just Black America persistently, saying over and over again, white supremacy is what's killing Black America. White supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. Well, look at our values right now. Look at our values. When you have this is what young girls are seeing. And I do not accept, and I want to say this, make this very clear. When people say, well, you need to be responsible for your kids, that is such a cowardice cop-out, in my opinion. Like, it is the ultimate cowardice cop-out. Because as a person, I'm a parent now, there's no way that you can keep your eyes on your kids every second of every day, right? Right now, just breastfed my baby, left the house. There's a babysitter watching. I don't know if that babysitter's on Instagram. Obviously, my baby is not, he's 10 weeks old. But you get what I'm saying. Your kids go off to school. The kids around them have Instagram, have things that they can show them. So don't pretend that it is just the fault of the parent in terms of producing a child. It's not. We have entire systems, 6 hours a day, they're given to schools. Right? So it's such a cop-out. We have to do better as individuals to make sure that the values that we're instilling in children all across society are better. So Cardi B, tell your kids not to listen to me. Like, stop that. That's a cop-out.
Cool. And you're right. I agree with you. Yo, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, yo. And do not miss the message, yo. It's nothing but logic going down here, guys. So we're going to answer your question today, guys. Word. We're going to answer your question. You know what I mean? And you stop us when she says something that's anti-man, guys. You know what I mean? Keep it real. Let's keep it real, guys. Don't
How many people in society do you think agree that pornography is a good value?
You asking me that?
Like, you can always do the neo-Marxist, let's go down. Well, who then decides? But we know. How many people in society think that grinding on Satan half naked, right, is a good value to have for children?
That's nobody. And this is what I say all of the time. They like to keep the gray area there so that they could play stupid. But ain't nobody stupid. We know that there's an answer to all of these questions, but people, Candace, and this is what I do at the school. This is what I provide at the school, because I provide the answer so that we can see through the fog, because they're going to keep it gray area fog. But that Bible, Candace, that basic instruction before leaving Earth, let us know. And that shit ain't in that Bible to be walking around here naked, to be showing each other your skin, your body parts. That's nowhere in that Bible, Candace. Nowhere. So you're right.
I'm asking you, because this is kind of, and you're asking good questions, by the way, but this is what Marxists do, is that they try to pretend that everything is subjective and there is no objectivity to things, right? There is objective reality, right? Every single person watching this podcast, every single person throughout society, every single person in the world knows that pornography, right, and children, it's not a good value to instill in children. That pornography and being nude, it's just not a good value. They know that, right? But when you get caught doing something bad, you go, oh, well, who knows? Smoking crack. Whose idea was it that smoking crack was bad? Whose idea was it that grinding on naked, half naked was bad? We know. We just know.
That's a fact. We know that. That's pure logic. And even a kid will tell you that. Even a baby will tell them that. You know what I mean?
I don't want to see that shit on my screen. Okay, so I don't think there is a single guy that can objectively tell me.
Hold up now.
Okay. Did you find it to be sexy?
Now hold up now, because we have 80% of guys out here, Candace, that thought that was everything. They couldn't wait to see that. So I can't agree with you on that point right there. I get what you mean, but I can't agree with you on that point totally. I didn't think it was sexy. You know what I mean? I didn't mind looking.
But the truth is that the majority of people, this is just degeneracy on full display. And so I just cannot accept that the majority of people do not know that is degenerate, right? And here's the thing. When you talk about governing, you're supposed to be governing for the greatest good, right? Like, we are trying to accomplish the greater good. It's not gonna be perfect. There's gonna be some weirdo somewhere in a basement, right? Who's like, ooh, yeah, I love this. This is sexy. I love seeing women do this on stage, and they're gonna be into that. But the overwhelming majority knows it's wrong. And we've gotten to a place in society where we are ignoring the overwhelming majority and favoring the itty-bitty minority who says, okay, but why not? And we have to stop doing that. That is how you literally destroy, and that's what I said on Fox News, is that we're seeing a corrosion of values because we keep catering to this minute minority. And everybody knows it's wrong. And here's how you can always challenge to see like that there's basic morality and weird things in society. Children are actually low-key savages, right? They're they will look at something and they'll say something out loud.
That's a whole fact, Candace. Let me tell you one story that happened to me a long time ago, man. Listen, we was in the house. We was little, and there's this black ass man that was a friend of the family. Every single time he came to the house, all of the babies cried and laughed, and he black. Look how black he is. And I mean, the babies ain't mean, and I tell him this all of the time. The babies are brutally honest. Babies are brutally honest. That don't mean they're bashing or anything like that. that's just the nature to tell the truth. It's in all of us. It's in all of us. We're not supposed to be in this falsehood with each other.
Worst scenario ever, because I've always been like this. And if I see something, I just say it. I was 5 years old. This is back when my parents, we lived in the, the roach infested apartment. So it was a tight little elevator. My mom got the mail. We got into the elevator. Me, my mother, and my father, they tell me the story. And a huge overweight guy got in the elevator. And the door shut. You already know, right? Why do you already know? You also know children. Children don't know there's these rules. It's not nice, it's not polite. So children are always just so honest. It's like one of those things where you're like, you just can't say that. And so my parents said they were just trying to pretend they didn't see me. And I was hitting my mom's leg, being like, mom, and they're, oh God, please no, Candace, this tight little elevator. And finally, eventually I just say, Mom, look, he's so fat. Why is he so fat, Mommy? Like, look at this man, so fat. Truly amazed, innocent, going, this is so fat. That young, I'm acknowledging, right, that's not normal. That something's wrong here. This guy's 300 plus pounds, however big he was, and that guy is not normal. That's an abnormality.
Facts.
Today, if I went
didn't
to
make
school,
that.
they would tell me that's fat acceptance. That the whole movement, being fat's okay. If you have an issue with this, then it's, I would learn in school, people that have an issue with it, they're bigots and they're wrong. A child really can tell you that something's off, that there's right and there's wrong. And yet we now have adults that are teaching children that there is no right and wrong. Everything's subjective. Everything's perception. It's not all perception. There are some objective truths, and we need to acknowledge them in order to have a more healthy society. Now, it's not perfect. And sometimes there are moments where conservatives are just clutching their pearls, right? That expression of like, oh my gosh, I just couldn't bear to see this. Yeah, sometimes it is a little extreme. But what Cardi B did on that stage was not an extreme. It was a form of degeneracy. And everybody, no matter what side of the political aisle that you're on, the overwhelming majority of people knew that was too far and that was too.
And I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. So who do you ultimately bring? Who is ultimately to get the blame? The parents, the elites. You know what I mean? Well, like how do you look at it? What's your take on that? You know what I mean? Truthfully.
I think it's
of
both.
course, 100%.
Yeah, because you have to call out immorality when you see it. You also have to call out, the more sinister initiatives that are taking place right now that people aren't aware of. Like I say, a lot of these people, whether it's Cardi B, Lil Nas X, Harry Styles, individually, they're not these rotten, horrible human beings. I actually think Harry Styles is probably a very nice guy. You know what I'm saying? I actually think it's the people that are using them that are the sinister, evil people. Meaning, why did Billboard decide, right, to name Cardi B Woman of the Year? She should never win that title because she's admitted openly that she's robbed and drugged men. She should never, ever be allowed by Bill Cosby standards, right? She should probably be in prison according to Bill Cosby standards. She's openly admitted to drugging and robbing men, right? Yet she's named Woman of the Year. Why? Who made that decision and why did they make that decision? These are the questions that I ask my audience to ask themselves. Who made that decision? At the same time, Harry Styles, okay, cover of Vogue, great accomplishment. Why do they want him in a dress? Why couldn't he? I've seen him wear a suit. He looks lovely in a suit. Why is Lil Nas X making a Satan shoe and straddling? Who is picking these people and putting them in the most public and applauding them and saying, this is great, this is great, this is great? That is a decision that is being made with purpose. Okay. By people that have nefarious intentions. I view the people like Cardi B, Harry Styles, Lil Nas X, those are pawns in a game that is much bigger and much more twisted than they could possibly understand.
And that's a fact. That's what I teach over here. I teach the social engineering, how they socially program everybody, because it's definitely an evil doing behind this whole shit. The Antichrist, that is. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna get too deep in here with you, Candace, but it's definitely something satanic going on. You know what I mean? How you feel about that, yo? What you gotta say?
And I think we're doing that. I think we're definitely doing that. It's just, as I said, you'll never see a conservative on the cover of Vogue, right? So people don't realize that it's out there. I mean, it's not like this is the first thing I've done. I've had podcasts forever. I'm not just out there tweeting into the Twitterverse, right? I have a book, like you just mentioned. I have a book. I have my own podcast. I've always had my own podcast. I now have a show. So we are doing that, but we are purposefully kept out of what is considered to be the tastemakers. You'll just never see. I mean, Melania Trump, they put every first lady on the cover of Vogue. I mean, literally every first lady on the cover of magazines, whether it's Elle, Vogue. Melania Trump, arguably one of the most beautiful first ladies ever had, definitively the most stylish first lady we've ever had. Nowhere, right? So, and that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. Whether you like me or not, somebody else is making a decision in terms of what you are allowed to digest. Somebody else is trying to set your moral standards. Somebody else is adjusting the codes and saying you should start to perceive this as normal, and it's not normal. It's not normal. So I'm calling it out for being not normal while also creating content, also creating an alternative for them.
Great. That's brilliant. That's brilliant stuff, yo. Brilliant stuff, yo. And it's definitely somebody controlling the needle. I like how you said that. You know what I mean? And how do you right? They suppress you women. They suppress the conservative women. They suppress the traditional women. You can't find them in our society. There ain't no TV shows. There ain't no reality shows. Ain't no movies that's promoting that. It's just shunned. You know what I mean? It's shunned. What's your definition of conservative and being conservative and stuff and things like that of that nature? I mean, we mentioned that word a couple of times over here.
Yeah, I think that you can define it politically, and I don't think people should define it politically. I think that people so often confuse conservatism with republicanism, and it's not that.
Okay.
My grandfather raised me. He was a conservative. He never voted a day in his life because he was so Christian that he didn't believe in any form of secularism. And it's conservatives are people that I think place faith and family above everything else. And everything good comes from that. There's so much good that comes when you just dedicate yourself to the basic proverbs of the Bible. You don't need to go. I'm not saying that this means that you need to dedicate your whole life. I think it'd be great if you dedicated your whole life to God and that you were a Christian. But even if you read the Bible objectively, those proverbs hit hard. In fact, a lot of the times people are using expressions they don't know where they came from. They came from the Bible.
Thank you. I tell them that all of the time. But you can't tell these folks nothing.
They literally came from the Bible. Have a read of that. When I say I'm living my life conservatively, I mean that I don't view myself as a commodity. I'm not putting my body out there. I have respect for myself because I believe in family above all else, right? I believe that there's respect. I believe that there's order. I believe that there's hierarchy in terms of authority in the household. I respect my husband, as the person that is leading my household, and that is not a form of bondage, right? Because you get that respect right back. I aspire to family. I think that's the greatest thing you can do in the world. I think the toughest job is raising good kids, right? And people so much want to wokeify women and say, oh, well, if you're at home making your husband a sandwich, then you're trapped. I mean, that's the greatest reward of my day is when I'm done at work and I get to go home and make a meal for my family, and talk about things that matter, talk about principles and morals around the table. It's hard being a kid. It's really hard, especially being a young woman. And right now we're making it harder for young women because the society that we're raising even young men up in is just not sustainable long term. And so I live my life conservatively, meaning that I don't feel like I have to get half naked. I put my faith and my family above everything else.
And that's real. And I see you as a great role model to the little girls coming up. And what would you say? What would you tell the little girls coming up that might want to listen to the Cardi and the 71% women? That's what I call them over here because they seem to be winning. So what would you say to the little girls that's looking over there at Cardi and the Megans? What would you say for them to get them to believe in what you have to say? You know what I mean? Like, because you are more role model to a little girl than they are. You get what I'm saying, Candace? You get that? You know what I mean? So it's like, how would
I
you?
always say, experiment with both and tell me what makes you feel better. And that is the truth when it comes to young women, because I dedicated my first episode to young women and really talking to them about these are the options that are being presented to you. Less, take off more clothes, do the most to get attention, right? If you think that that's freedom, the idea that you have to wear less and the idea that you have to get naked to be heard, you really think that's a form of freedom? Because that's slavery, that's bondage. I didn't have to take off my clothes to be heard in society. And these women will realize that when you follow these people that are self-imposed feminists, I'm a feminist, I do this, I'm a feminist, you hear that word over and over and over again, you'll find that the majority of them are miserable. Look at their lives and ask yourself a question. Do you think they are happy? Do you feel good when you do what they do? Right? When you're constantly looking for a dopamine hit from social media because you took your clothes off and you want somebody in your comments, a thirst trap with your ass out, right? And you want someone in your comments going, oh, slay bae, you slayed the day, bae. Hashtag Tuesdays, am I right?
Yeah.
And you do this stuff for attention and you're devaluing yourself And at the end of the day, you don't actually feel good, and it's not going to bring you happiness, right? So yeah, you can get guys sliding in your DM. You can get guys telling you look good. You can get guys that want to sleep with you. How many of these people actually get guys that want to stay with you, right? Are not in somebody else's DM. The same way that you found him is the same way he's going to find somebody else, because we are increasingly becoming a part of a society that's ADHD. You want to know why our grandparents stayed together? Because they weren't looking at ass cheeks all day on Instagram and refreshing it and going, oh, well, that girl looks younger, that girl looks better, that girl's face tuned, and I think that is what these young women that they're following are telling them. You've got 13-year-olds getting lip injections, right? Because they want to look like Kylie Jenner. Again, not a shot to Kylie Jenner, but what society have we created that ever made Kylie Jenner feel like she had to go out and buy those lips, that she had to contour her entire face and change her entire body? She was already a beautiful little girl. So the society is ill. It's not normal, right? Don't let these people convince you that that's normal. That's cancer, and that cancer will become contagious to you if you accept that. You don't follow better role models, because I genuinely believe that conservative women are happier.
I believe that too. I mean, I look around, I talk around. I mean, I talk with Mrs. Goodbread, and they happier, man. They're not trying to break their neck. They're following God's order and God's task. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I tell them all of the time, and I'm glad we could I could get deep with you, Candace, because you read that Bible, and I tell them all of the time, guys. You know what I mean? Just because we ate that apple don't mean we smarter than God. We cannot outsmart God. We either do it his way or we suffer. And a lot of people is trying to outsmart him, and they suffering. They suffering. And it's sad, yo. It's sad to see them like that. You know
Because
what I
we're
mean?
being brainwashed via the education system.
Okay.
You learn feminism in school, right? You learn feminism.
What you mean
I can tell
feminism?
you how they define it and what it actually is, right?
Go
So
ahead.
feminism in school, when you learn it, is you're just fighting against the patriarchy, and you're supposed to see the patriarchy everywhere. It's the same way that critical race theory and race is being taught. The idea is they're not actually teaching you anything but how to hate white people when you're learning about race in school. And when you are learning about feminism, they're not actually teaching you anything other than how to hate men and to see the patriarchy and men putting you down everywhere, right? So when you have that form of psychological conditioning taking place in the school system, you're producing women that see the patriarchy everywhere. It becomes like a paranoia, right? Oh my God, if you ask me to make a sandwich, I'm not gonna make a sandwich, and then that's it, I'm trapped. And they're actually not realizing that there actually was an incentive behind you even being taught that. You've never actually lived the life of making a husband a sandwich, and they think that's going to send you back, and suddenly you're going to lose your voting rights, and you're not going to be able to go get work. There was a time when there was a need for feminism, first wave feminism, right? But first wave feminists would want nothing to do with third wave feminists, which is where we're at today,
I
right?
agree.
Women that think that actually first wave feminists, you could argue, envied men. Right? They wanted to be able to go to work. They wanted to have that option to be something outside of the home. Right now, the exact opposite, which is that if everything in the home is bad, and that's what you call throwing out the baby with the bathwater. There are some really amazing things. I think the best things that come from being at home. Sometimes I think we got the bad end of the deal, right? I'm like, wait, we got to stay at home and do nothing and spend our husband's money, and
You
somebody
definitely
complains.
did.
Yeah.
That's a joke, guys.
You definitely got the bad end of the stick, though, Candace. And I don't understand why so many women don't see it like that. They think it's a good thing that they get to go out there and put on all of these different caps and build that masculinity. And that masculinity turns to hate when they can't get it released as quick as they build it. You know what I mean? So definitely got the worst end of the stick.
One is you need to be top 40 Forbes company, a corporation. If you don't have that, then you somehow failed. And I'm like, that is so backwards and so wrong. And it also goes against biology. It goes against biology. There's a reason, biological underpinning to everything that we have in this society. People keep trying to outthink biology. It doesn't work that way, right? There's a reason, women can carry children and men can't. So that instantly allows man to have different goals in terms of the workforce than women, because that means we have to make a decision. Do we have children or continue working in our career, or try to juggle both? Men don't have that same pressure. It's not their fault. They didn't design this. Men weren't like, well, I have an idea. Let's not be able to carry children. Only let women be able to do that.
Great point.
And so there's the biological reality of that. And increasingly you see women that go for it in terms of their career because they have the societal pressure. And then it's too late. And then they realize, wow, this job is not making me happy. But my gosh, can I just tell you as a new mom what you feel like when your son smiles at you? Like, you know, when your baby looks up at you, there's no greater feeling of accomplishment. Like there is not, I have accomplished a lot in my life in terms of my career. And I can tell you there is nothing that satisfies me more than just my baby smiling at me. And we're taking that away from women because we're telling them that's the wrong aspirations to have in life.
And that's satanic right there. Don't you think? That's so satanic. That's like that's a slap in the face to God. That's why he put us here. He put us here to work. He put us here to have babies, to make families, and to build with one another. That's what he put us here for. And it's like we defy to do the opposite. And it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me, Candace. Great spell. Keep cooking, Candace.
I
Cook.
think it's a self-perpetuating problem, meaning that there are crappy men in the world, right? But men are crappy because we've created a system where manhood has become obsolete. You keep increasingly telling men more and more they can't matter. When I say, who are they being told that by? You know, like I said, there's more sinister implications here of why we're making manhood obsolete. When we're saying masculinity is wrong, this is backwards. You don't need a man. You can just have a baby without a man. You're starting to see that sort of programming happening with young women. When you're telling women to act like men, you should aspire to the things that men naturally might aspire to. When you remove the more natural feeling of men being providers and women being nurturers, which is a beautiful yin and yang that just works, right? So you're creating men to feel obsolete, and then women are complaining because men aren't being men. You know, it doesn't work that way, right? And not only that, then increasingly you're telling women to be the opposite of what I think men want, right? The opposite, maybe in the instant when men are not thinking with their big heads and they're saying, oh, whoa, she's half naked, great, I'm going to go for it. That might be what a man wants. But long term, that's not what a man wants. A man doesn't want a girl that's just going to be naked all the time and put herself out there available for every man to see. You know, that I don't have to be a man to know that that's not what men want. So then you say men suck. And I ask this question all the time. You complain about men, but are you being the type of a woman that a man would want, right? It's a self-perpetuating problem. And then you say that and they, oh my God, Candace is a horrible human being. And I'm looking at you going, I'm not a dude. I wouldn't date you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so again, self-perpetuating problem, not enough women calling out the fact that women are not desirable right now, in my opinion, right? They're sexually desirable, but I wouldn't want to take you home to mom desirable. And then you have men who are you know, being hit over the stick and being told, man, bad, masculinity, bad, who need to be told, no, stand up, you know, tuck your shirt in, right? Be a leader, be what a man is supposed to be. And that dies when we're not even allowed to say man and woman anymore. And that gets me into the transgender. And I could rant for 3 hours on that.
Yeah, I know you can. That's one of your good talking points right there. But Candace, you said a lot of great things. What about solutions? How do we go about fixing this, man? How do we go about fixing this? Because it's bad. It's bad. It's getting worse too, Candace, don't you think?
Yeah, and it's like, why is society communicating to men to be more feminine at the same time that you're telling women to be more masculine, right? That's like, just take a step back and think. You don't have to like Candace Owens to take a step back and go, that is kind of weird, right? It is a bit weird that you're telling men, oh, all displays of masculinity are wrong and you need to be more feminine, and telling men they can bend gender and do all of these things, while at the same time you're saying to a woman, you need to man up, you need to provide, you need to do this, you need to do that. That tells you that there's something satanic going on, right? And there's something, you know, and this is why I go back to saying that the Bible has so much knowledge. Satan is the author of lies and deception. What more deception than telling women and men that there are no differences between them? Telling men they can be women. You just have to decide right now. This would be enough. If you right now said, I identify as a woman, then right now society would say, we're so proud of you. And then they would give you the tools to get you to mutilate your own body. That's simple, right? And you're doing this under the guise of progressivism. There couldn't be anything more regressive. And you're starting this programming at such a young age, right? You're going after children with this because you're trying to psychologically condition them to think that these things are normal. They'll ruin their lives before they even know that they're in their life, right? When a kid makes such a drastic decision as to say, I'm in the wrong body, and then goes through surgeries years later, and I've had people on my show and spoke to them about that, you're ruining their life. They'll never be able to have a normal family. They mutilate their bodies, right? So there's so much evil, and like I said, especially being a new parent, I feel this burden to continue to speak out about it, and I will never make an apology for calling out blatant immorality and deception.
And you shouldn't. I would never apologize because, see, this is why I like we could touch deep. So honestly, Candace, who do you think is the Antichrist? Who do you think is the Antichrist? Who do you think is the one pulling all of the strings? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Somebody is pushing that button. Somebody is pushing that program button. You know what I mean? How do you? What's your take on that? Who do you
So I
think?
think it's two parts. So I obviously I study foreign policy, so I see China behind a lot of it, and that's a much longer discussion that we can get into on another day.
Deep,
China is
deep.
funding a lot of the stuff that's happening in America right now. China is setting the stage, in my opinion, to take over the West. And what better way to take over Western civilization than to undermine it entirely? That's that you'd be able to take over America without even firing a single bullet. Right? When you render children weaker, when you render students dumber, teacher, even when people talk about why I attack critical race theory, all of these Latinx studies, I call it Latinx, right? All of this bull crap that kids are learning. So you have a bunch of kids that can come out and they're social justice warriors. They can tell you how racism is everywhere and how injustice against the LGBT movement is everywhere. And now you have men that are women and women that are men. And what you have is a society that can't survive, right? Because at the end of the day, these kids have no skills other than complaining, right? You're not going to make money complaining. You can't. All you can really become if you if you decide to major in Latinx's studies is another professor, right? Teaching other students about Latinx's studies. This is not. There's you have no strengths. No real strengths. You cannot participate in a free market society in a meaningful way. And yet we're increasingly telling kids, you have to go to university, you have to go to university, you have to go to college, and you have to learn this BS to come out and to not be able to provide for yourself. Well, that sets the stage, and this is an economic argument, for America to weaken itself from the inside out. It's corrosion. You get these social justice warriors in the big corporations that are making money, these corporations that are sustaining America by making tons of money, and you cripple them from the inside out. They're like cancer cells, right? Before they even get to work, they tell you 20 things that are wrong about why they even have to work, right? I can't even believe that I work at a place and I don't have lattes every morning, right? And they're so convinced that they're smart. And that's the greatest danger of it all. Because we're handing them these awards, these degrees that mean nothing. They're convinced that they are smart, that they are the future, and they know nothing. They know nothing about what makes America great. They hate their country. They don't understand why at the same time they don't put two and two together. They're convinced America's so bad, but they can't explain to you why everybody wants to get into America. Right? Right. Why everyone wants to get here. Why we're even talking about having a border wall. Why people are swimming and drowning for a chance to be in America, because they don't realize that what's killed all the other companies is not having this free market competition. This is what makes America great. Having this system, why people from all over the world want to get into this country. And so, in my opinion, there's if you study the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative, what they really want to do in terms of taking over the West, we're seeing that manifested today. And I think that it was especially demonstrated if you watch the clip of China in Anchorage, Alaska. They had a summit and they were just talking down to America in a way that was so open to Anthony Blinken, our Secretary of State, and basically saying, America's weak now. And I think that we have been weakened from within, and if we don't turn the ship around very quickly, we're going to hit an iceberg.
I agree with that, yo. That's a great spell right there. I absolutely agree with your take on that. You know what I mean? What are some solutions, though? What are some solutions? You know, Candace, I know you know. What are some solutions?
It means that first and foremost, we dismantle the Department of Education. We start actually resetting reality, objective academics, right? You have people that are even saying right now, absurdly, that even failing Black kids, even though they deserve to be failed, is a form of racism, right? So what are you doing? Saying Black kids should just be able to pass on the fact that they're Black, just on the basis of them being Black, they should be able to get through school. But what's going to happen? You can do that. You can pull that BS all the way through to college. And then what's going to happen? They still know nothing, right? They still know nothing. They cannot do anything in society because they know nothing, because you keep handing out participation trophies. Stop that. I would develop a very aggressive approach to the education system. First and foremost, one that is pro-American, meaning that people need to understand why America is great. You cannot justify all of these groups of individuals from all over the world trying to get in here without also accepting that there is some magic in America. There are things that make this country great. Is this country perfect? No, it has not been perfect. It certainly has not been perfect to Black Americans in the past, right? We know that, and we're not denying that. But there are tons of things that this country has gotten right, and that the West has gotten right. And the same people that are telling you, oh my gosh, well, America's horrible for racism, have way deeper histories in terms of racism in their own countries, right? Today, currently, Uganda currently has slaves. You're sitting here talking about, they took us from Africa. Would you want to go back to Africa? Maybe you should learn about what goes on in Africa today. Maybe you should learn about the slave trade in Africa today. Maybe you should learn that that's the slave trade was not created by white Americans or by Americans or by white people in general in the West, but actually they were the first to dismantle the slave trade in the entire world, right? And so because people don't know history and they think that the world started in 1776, they're so ignorant to the fact that the West has actually always been the best, right? You're saying, oh, that's a form of, you can't say that, that's horrible, that's nationalism. No, there is something about the West that has always been the West, or that has always been the best. There are ingredients that the West has gotten right. And as I said, things that we've done that are wrong, but they have been done forever and longer in all of these other countries that you keep thinking are better. You want to talk about immigration? Go figure out what every other country, what their system of immigration is. You think America's so horrible and racist? Japan, you could be born in Japan and still not get citizenship. Literally, they don't care because they want you to be Japanese. You have to be Japanese to acquire citizenship in Japan. Go learn about every other country's system of immigration before you go talking about ours. And it infuriates me because people don't realize the opportunities that you are given just because you are born. It's almost like people that live here don't deserve the opportunities they have. I would, in a heartbeat, take a bunch of Black people from Nigeria and trade them with Black Americans that are out there complaining and rioting and looting. And that is why African immigrants, I have so many African immigrant fans that say to me, man, I don't know what the hell is wrong with Black Americans. It's because they don't know what happens outside of this country. And there's so much truth to that.
And see, it's comments like that is so truthful, but I have people that is living a lie upset at you, worrying about your delivery, telling you, oh, she's a race traitor, or, you know what I mean? When you telling the truth, I'm telling the truth. The truth is what it is. You know what I mean? And this is why I don't even strive anymore to try to change my delivery or fix my delivery, because you can't. People for years has been trying to talk to these people on a quiet tip, on a respectful note, and it ain't working. They pastor talk to them every Sunday the way he talked to them, and it don't work. Been talking to them every Sunday for 70 years the way he talk, and it ain't work. So how do you feel about when people attack the way you say stuff? Because that last comment you made was strong and powerful, Candace. How do you feel about that? Like, you know what I mean? Because you know
How's
they
their
gonna
tone to me?
right.
How's their tone to me?
Right.
Right. So, and here's what people don't understand. You have these people, and they're not just wrong, they're strong and wrong, right? They're passionately ignorant. They're convinced of their own intelligence. They're convinced that they are the future, right? So they come in here and they are just like, I am it. I am the best. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You think they're going to hear a little quiet mouse being like, actually, I'd like you to read this thesis paper I wrote and explain to you the ills. They would be like, are you kidding me? These people are rude, they're loud, and they're passionate about their ignorance. So the only way that you can address them is to be just as loud and to be just as passionate about the things that you actually know. And I wish, trust me, I wish I could just be like, hey, actually, Cardi, that performance, let me explain to you why that wasn't no, because she's convinced of her own greatness, because she's being handed all these accolades in life. They're giving her awards, they're naming her Woman of the Year. You can't tell Cardi B nothing. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. They're developing the system even through the school system, handing out these meaningless degrees, handing out these master degrees, these bachelor's degrees. You have to be able to be like, well, I graduated and I'm a major in feminist dance theory. I know what I am talking about. And so you have to combat that with aggression, because they're aggressively wrong.
And I agree with you. That they ignorant. Salute to Mr. Palmer. They ignorant. You know what I mean? And that's how that be. So we're gonna go on and wrap this thing on up. Any final thoughts, Candace? Any final spills you want to give out? You know what I mean?
Plus everyone else is scared. Right. So it would be so much easier for me to just state, first off, like I said, most times just stating my opinion in 30-second clips. And it would be so much easier if I was being aided by other people that are acknowledging the truth, right? It would be so dope if Charlemagne the God got up on Hot 97 and was like, nope, that performance wasn't it, right? Instead, we have an entire community that pretends that they don't know what's wrong. right? That because they just want to be in the cool club. They just want to make sure that Beyonce will sit down so they can get the clicks, and that Cardi B will sit down, they'll get the clicks, and like, you know, they want to make sure they're cool with LeBron James or cool with the athletes. I don't care to be cool with them. I'm not trying to sit at their table. I'm not trying to be their friends, because I understand that the table that they're sitting at is toxic, and everything that's being served is absolute poison, right? So I'm just sitting here like, you suck. Things to appreciate about you. I think LeBron James is an amazing athlete. I think he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about when he talks about Black Lives Matter, right? And he needs to shut up and sit down, because he's spreading bad things in the Black community without meaning to. Cardi B, I love the hustle. I love the idea of somebody being a stripper and working their way and becoming a millionaire. That's naturally conservative, right? Without taking any handouts from the government. Those are great elements. Now, you know what I don't like? I don't like that quickly you're already being used as a pawn. And see, now Biden is sitting down with you, pretending that he doesn't think you're anything more than an ignorant Black girl, because that's what he thinks about her. Okay. And everybody knows that. I'm saying the truth. You know that. Every Black American with the platform knows that Cardi B is considered a joke to Joe Biden, but I'm the only one that says it. Why don't you guys help me out so I don't have to be the only voice?
I got you, Candace. I got you. Don't worry about it. I definitely got you.
I'm saying, people, that we all know the truth in Black America. So why am I the only person that's saying it? It's frustrating to me at this point, where it's like this stupid Candace hates her own skin color. What are you talking about? I love being Black. I mean, you should be able to tell by now that I quite enjoy being me. I haven't made any apologies trying to get you to be my friend, right? I love my story. I love what I've done. You know, I am self-congratulatory in a way that I came from absolutely nothing, and I made a living for myself. And people can follow me, and I know that I am instilling good morals and good principles. Candace Owens doesn't hate her own skin color. Candace Owens doesn't hate her own character. And I think that just needs to be said over and over again, that you guys are saying that foolishness because you don't want to respond to what I'm actually saying, because you know what I'm saying is actually true. It hits hard, right? It's the truth.
And that's a fact. It's the truth. The truth is what it is. And I mean, the truth will set you free. And God asks us to live in our truth. And so many people, this is why fake is the new real now, because people don't want to live in their truth. People want to live in a delusion. And I mean, like birds in a cage. And
we're also being coddled by actual white supremacists, right? So the real white supremacists, if you're looking for them, are the people that know that everything they're giving you is toxic. Everything they're giving you is going to eventually kill your community. Everything they're giving you is promoting, you know, bad morals. And yet they applaud you and give you awards when you do it. So the real white supremacists are the people that made the decision. Again, I'm bringing up Cardi as an example. I'm not attacking her character, who made the decision to give her Woman of the Year, right? Those are the real white supremacists. But people aren't thinking like that, going, wait a second, I don't agree with that. So who made that decision? We all know that's not right. There are tons of Black women doing amazing things. You could go find a Black neurosurgeon, right? And be like, this is the Woman of the Year. She's amazing, right? You could find another artist that's done some amazing things that I might disagree with politically, but Beyonce'd be a better person, right? And yet they don't do that. So you have to ask yourself, who are the real white supremacists? Anybody that is trying to make sure that we think bad is good is a white supremacist, in my opinion, right? Any person that is telling you to keep hailing criminals, right? To keep hailing people that are doing bad deeds in our society. Person that told you to put Jacob Blake's name on the back of a NFL cap, right? He had Jacob Blake was the guy who
from Wisconsin
admitted he had a knife, wielding a knife towards a police officer, and got shot. And yet the NFL made a decision to put his number on the back of helmets. Why the hell? Not to mention, they had a warrant out for his arrest because he allegedly raped a Black woman. They didn't care. Why'd they run with that? Because it was Black Lives Matter material. And Black Lives Matter is not being run by Black people. It's being run by white people who are evil and who see Black people as idiots, who will go out and do their bidding, who will destroy, again, where's Black Lives Matter? Election's over, guys. Where are they? I haven't seen like any looting or rioting, or it's all gone. So, because it's a political organization, and it is the most racist political organization to ever exist. Yes, because you raised billions of dollars off of dead Black faces, and the Black community got none of it. None of it. Billions of dollars. They raised billions of dollars in hours following George Floyd's death. Where's the money? Is there a Black Lives Matter school? Is there a Black Lives Matter scholarship that I can apply to, that my son can apply to? Is there a Black Lives Matter neighborhood being built? Oh, no, there's none of that stuff. We don't know where the money went. It's a black hole. They raised money off of dead Black people, and the Black community didn't get it. All we got were some free TVs from Target and a lot of our youth arrested and more Black people killed in those riots than were actually killed by police officers in the entire year, unarmed. Think about it. You didn't even think about it. You just, oh, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives. You are promoting a corporation that is run by white people, that is raising money, and no one will answer the question, where did the billions and billions of dollars go? Yeah, and I think I would just wrap by saying to people, like, don't believe the headlines. The people that are even running the news corporations, there's evil. There's an evil profit motive behind it. So I can't tell you how many times people actually believe that I said things I never said, because they know that right now they're training not just Black people, but all Americans to just read the headline and accept it as truth, right? And I've seen headlines that literally say, Candace says, racism doesn't exist. I've never once, ever, in the history of all of my speeches everywhere, have I ever said racism doesn't exist. But it's a headline, and every time someone gets to debate with me, they show that headline, and I'm like, I never said it. People don't think, they don't actually go pursue the source. And that is the power that we give to the mainstream media, that they can build someone up or they can tear someone down. Typically, people they're trying to tear down are people that represent an existential threat to them and their establishment. I understand that I represent an existential threat to the mainstream media agenda. The mainstream media agenda, which benefits off of an ignorant Black race in America, right? That's why they hate me. I'm talking about powers that be, a lot people that with a lot more money and power than you or I have. And so they create this division because they don't want you to see the truth. Like I said, don't listen to, you don't have to like me personally. I'm asking you to actually consider what it is I am saying. Like, actually go look at what I've actually said, right? And tell me what it is you factually disagree with. Don't be smarter. You know what I mean? Like, be smarter than Candace doesn't like being Black. That's stupid. That's just dumb, right? Hit me with a counter fact if you believe that my facts are wrong, and I'll level with you.
All right, guys, it's been real. Thank you for coming out, Candace Owens. And anytime you want to come back, you could come on back. And remember, we got to do that episode about your white husband. You know what I mean? We're going to break that down. We're going to go to the Bible, because that's all they're going to do. All they're going to do is attack your personalness. Nobody can say anything about your talking points. You know what I mean? So it's been real. And guys, again, guys, look no further than the horse's mouth. Get your information from the horse's mouth. Don't be listening to what people say. Don't be listening to the go along, get along gang. Because the closer we get to the truth, the more pushback you're going to get from those that benefit from the lie. And those that benefit from the lie, they get very creative in trying to paint the person telling the truth out to be this bad figure. You know what I mean? Don't be going along to get along, guys. It's been real. 2 videos is about to pop up right now. One is a playlist. One is yesterday morning's video. If you missed it, y'all can click that now, and I'll see you guys again. All right, guys.